Hi, and welcome to the second episode of PCX64. For reasons of duration, this episode has been split into multiple pieces. Please enjoy the show. People on the sofa, well, technically one new person and one person back from last time, that being Isisera.
Greetings, happy to see y'all again, and excited for this podcast.
Believable Captain Backpack.
Oh, hey everyone. First time on the sofa, hopefully not the last.
You're always invited. I still stand by an open sofa policy. Even if that means at some point we have 10 people on here, I'll figure it out.
That'll be the best time.
This is going to be episode 2, which I have given the loose title of What's in a Roster?
Okay.
And big focus is going to be talking about unveiling of a roster and how to approach it. And because this is such a large topic, this is going to be breached across episode 2 in multiple parts, with this particular session only being part 1. And with that, I'm also introducing a new warm-up format where I'm going to suggest, or someone else is going to suggest, a special move, and then we're going to have guests talk about it using these questions. Is the move amazing? Is this move crucial to the kit? Does this move define the play style? Does this move play to synergy? And is this move a good or easy to execute move that plays with player execution? And at that end, I have picked the first move. It's going to be Hunk's forward H. Isisera, are you ready to go?
I have some thoughts on it. So is the move amazing, first of all? So, in the context of it being a command normal, it you get to think about it in some ways that are similar to normal, but it has some of the properties that make a command normal better than a lot of other ones would. So since it's on 6H, that means that first of all, option selecting throw always amazing. And something that makes it so if a move has other useful properties, being able to OS throw with it is pretty sweet because you could get value in multiple situations. And with hunks, it also means that they get to do this off of every normal. It's not like a command normal with medium. They could still chain into this off of their heavies. And that means that they have access to longer chains, which gives the character more access to longer strings to get back your assist. So I feel like that's some of the first things that I'm looking at with this. And then looking at how long the block stun is, in comparison with the H, it seems pretty similar, but being able to have it at the delayed timing for the hit, especially when paired with his movement tools and his grenades, allows for so many interesting things. So definitely amazing. Should I go through the full list, or do we want to hear back thoughts on what is the move amazing before moving on to cruciality to the kit?
I think going down. Backpack, are you ready? Do you want me to go?
Uh, you can go ahead. Give me some time.
Um, this move I think is very amazing. I think it's for a reason that you didn't talk about. It's a Kara. Like I did a bit of discovering and found out that if you Kara cancel from the opening startup of the move into specials, Hunk will still skip forward a little.
Mhm.
And I thought that was really useful because it lets you do like positioning for the OTG sometimes, or one really wild thing. Because it doesn't initially hit, you have that delay. You can sneak command throws off of it because
Mhm.
Hunk's command throw cancel, like the entire move, is really hard to distinguish when he starts moving. So if you start the opening half of the forward edge and then immediately cancel into command throw, it, at least the first time, visually looks like nothing. As opposed to getting kicked, you were just suddenly thrown. And I think that's nice to the kit. The ability to shift himself plus extend the range of that command throw with the car cancel also is huge. And I realize he can wave dash and plink really well, so getting extensions via movement isn't hard. But I did just spend a morning going through what happens if I canceled the opening with different specials. And the properties are very interesting in that regard because you can also use it to like pull grenade and still move forward a little. Small
Mhm.
things. Uh,
It has been a long time since I had been a hunk main because he had been one of the characters that was my favorites before the substantial nerfs had occurred, but luckily he was built back up over time, and some of the things that, even though they were things I enjoyed, made the character pretty unfortunate to interact with, have been toned down, but still has access to such great tools. I feel like with that card that you're mentioning, it's also useful for combining with the fact that it's late in the chain, because you could do off of uh, the M or 2M, or even just 2L, you could go into it and then get your command throw. So you could do it with the ticks from farther, because like max range 2L, you can't go into command throw normally. But if you car it with the 6H in the chain, you're able to get it into the command throw. So that's pretty sweet too.
Captain?
Do I think the move is amazing? I do. And I say that because um, in the context of his whole kit, because having a move that's got this much forward range, you can Kara cancel it. He's also got an actual command dash, for extra mobility, and being able to essentially toss this out and make itself safe by backdash canceling it. I think that's pretty strong. And given all of Hunk's other tools, I think that it works really well together. So I'm going to be a lot less eloquent than the two of you. I'm here for mostly color. So like I think it works really well. I think it's really cool. It's a cool looking move, and it plays well with this kit. So yeah, I think it's pretty good.
And overall, I think as we're moving into the next question, with it being crucial to the kit, I think it is incredibly crucial to the kit. Is when trying to route Hunk combos, there's a big thing about him not going into the super jump state. Is you really want your special to not knock people down. So being able to pop them up at heights and then use his command cancel to get the jump without super jumping. Because you can cancel forward H into launcher, but if you instead use his special dash jump, you can continue to loop and set up pressure as well as pull grenades without blowing. Because Hunk loses a lot of combo extension potential when you have to OTG, because you usually get only, I think, two. I've sometimes got, if you can get the third one if you have a grenade, but then you have to immediately special cancel because you're not able to combo afterwards. So having access to this gives Hunk the ability to route around his hit stun decay, which is easily one of the things that can hold this character down to the ground quite badly. And for example, when I start his combo now, I do like Magic Series forward heavy and then do light gun, because at the apex of his hit stun, you can then combo light punch. So I get it. That's a full extension without having to go into air state or OTG. And that's only possible because you have access to the jump. But it's also pretty good because you can get like the air to ground as well as turning anything with a move like that into a jail. So if you can use it against airborne targets, command cancel with an assist, because it is a normal, so you can still call an assist during it. And then pressure them off jump gun while the assist then hits them down, because Hunk has trouble keeping people pinned without an assist, so having a special cancelable move that also lets you set up the assist is pretty big to his kit. So I think like without having that tool, I think Hunk would be a considerably worse character despite it only being a forward normal.
See that? Yeah.
I think that as far as cruciality to the kit's concerned, it's a very powerful tool, and it depends on which aspects of Hunk's play you are looking to engage in. If your entire plan is to be on the opposite side of the screen, I don't think that you need to rely on it a ton. But I think if you're planning on interacting with your opponent, or you have the tools to try and convert from your full screen game into a solid confirm, that it ends up being incredibly powerful. And especially once you have your opponent in the corner, I feel is when it gets the strongest, because that's at the range that after it, even if they get some advancing guards in, you're often able to. Whoops, just a second. You could use your timing of the movement cancels to get around things. and it's a good space to get him into. I feel like as far as whether it's crucial, it is helpful, but one of the things I've learned from playing so many different characters that have had things dramatically change to the point of removal is that their kits end up having more ways that they could be effective, even if it seems like something is crucial. There's just uh, like Super Captain Fire is no longer part of Captain Commando's kit, and that had felt very crucial previously. But with the adjustments that were made, now it feels like it's totally unnecessary because his homies are so good. So I think a lot of the cruciality is very context sensitive to how the other tools with the character are working at the time.
It's actually a very good point. Um, do I think it's crucial to the kit? I do. However, as Isisera stated, with the mod roster being kind of in flux, a lot more frequent changes, uh, you kind of have to look at, if when a move is crucial to the kit, you kind of have to look at it in the context of, the current patch, I guess. And in the on this patch, works well with what he's got going on. So, yeah.
I may have accidentally also answered the question of does it define the playstyle? And as Azar points out, if you're playing him at full range, you probably will never end up using that move
Mm,
for some entire character life bars. But I think, at least in this current iteration of Hunk, it does define him because it is the usual link route to use his command jump combos. And definitely that's where like his extension tools are because most of his other specials are a closed shut reaction of the guns not being able to be picked up with like grenades or a jump
mm.
cancel. And at far ranges, nothing's going to combo without utilizing an assist.
Yeah, that's a good point. It can be a little tricky to use outside of particular ranges.
Another thing that's really nice about it, and I'm just flailing with it in training mode more as we're talking, is that Hunk has sword normals, and they're pretty enormous. But even with his enormous sword normals, 6H is still very good at connecting with people. If you block it like a very far-reaching, like 2H or something from him, he still has the opportunity to get in there because of the forward movement, even though it's just a kick. And it's really nice that he has something for confirming those really long reaching pokes into another tool because that makes it so you have a safer string to move forward with in the crew advantage. Like it's only at the very like tip of the 2H that it'll start whiffing. And at that point, you can like load a grenade and then do backwards movement.
Right. You have options.
So, Backpack, what do you think about the defining levels of the playstyle?
Uh, hmm. Does it define Hunk's playstyle? I think it works very well in tune with other tools that define his playstyle. If I had to if I had to pick out like one tool that makes Hunk stand out, it isn't 6H. It's the command dash in all of its forms. Just attack plus S. It kind of it opens up Hunk as a character, and it's Hunk's incredible normals like 6H that really benefit from the movement options that the command, jump, dash both give you. I feel like without that dash, um, without that dash, 6H would become a much more important move. But with the dash, it becomes one important move in a much larger set of important moves. You know, normals like 2H being enormous, like Isaiah was saying. Pair those two together, they're both great on their own. Add that command dash with them, they become even better. So I think it's not defining, but it works very well in tandem.
Ridiculously important in the context is that there are obviously plenty of ways to combo off of assists in Marvel 3. It's not as bad as some games where you definitely need specific tools to do so. But a big thing about it is that definitely there are characters where you cannot make a team work because it's too hard to combo off of the assist. As I already commented, because it's a command normal, you can call an assist and attack with it in the same frame. And because it's a slower hitting move that pops up pretty high before the end of its resolution, for very slow or hard to combo assists, it can be great because it gives you the ability to utilize it. And it can be consistent even off of weird hits because you can still get it after an OTG. So being able to unlock powerful assists and powerful team synergies by having the ability to stabilize weird assists is a pretty good way to use them, I think. That's like where I think like it does wonders for the synergy.
As far as its interactions with Team Synergy, this is a class of move that I think everybody should look for with all of the characters that they play, which is early on, it's essentially a soft knockdown. It has so much hit stun that you're able to just like do a bunch of stuff with it. And when you have a move that works that way, whether it is a set hit stun move or just something that has very high hit stun early on, it means that when you have an assist, you are likely going to be able to do a loop using that move, using the hit stun of the assist, because it gives you enough time to go into the assist, and then it has enough value that you'll still be able to get something after it. So having a thing like 6H is great for all characters who are looking to get more value out of their assist summons. And then, especially because looking at his overall damage of things that are single hits, so of the normals, Jump S is 75k and 6H is 80k. It is tied for his highest damage normal with the Stand S. So things that have low numbers of hits with high amounts of damage, that have high hit stun, mean that it will scale your combo less. Doing it early is useful and doing it late is useful. So it has a lot of things that are good for like combo synergies. And then, as noted previously, the fact that it's a command normal H, what that you still have cancels out of. Oh, I didn't mention that not all the command normals you could cancel things out of, but being able to have the normal cancel window for all of the tools makes it so much stronger for Hunk. So I think it's definitely one of the things that makes it easier for him to acquire synergy than many characters would, because it's just so useful in so many situations.
I mean, at this point, what can I say that hasn't been said? You know, it if you're talking about working in tandem with the rest of your team, 6H is kind of your party starter. It lets you, it gives you access uh to assist calls that you wouldn't get otherwise, simply because it leaves them at a nice enough float state that almost any assist can combo with it. Plus, add in um, add in Punk's just quarter circle attack, just the regular rifle shots, and that's a recipe to get combos with just about any assist, anything you really want. So, I think I've always said that Hunk is 100% a team player. Hunk has a lot of really good tools that work easily with basically any character on the roster. And it's tools like 6H that let him be a team player on not just mid or anchor, but on point as well.
totally agreed. Backpack, that's a great way of phrasing it.
And then coming into our last question, I think this is one that I think is going to be personal because definitely personal for me. Good for execution. I'm not very good at execution, so having a special with a little bit of a cutscene on it that's effective for special canceling or combo extensions is great. Is it can sometimes let me readjust my fingers to the right place so I don't do something stupid. Like get a DP when I wanted a fireball because I forgot to remove my forward input from the buffer before doing so. And just sometimes, specifically with longer combos, you kind of forget where you are in the combo. So just you get a brief moment when you watch him kick where you can think, where am I? Oh, okay, I'm here. So for me, it's pretty crucial to the execution of the character as an easier to pick up, at least on the base level combo character. Just having a little bit of a time to relax your fingers, relax your mind. Because Marvel's a game where sometimes you start going 1,000 inputs in a minute, accidentally forget your combo.
It is definitely easy to run into that situation. Backpack, what are your thoughts on the execution with the 6H?
Well, similar to Tim, I am not known for having the best execution in the world. I tend to play characters that don't really require a lot of execution to be effective. Um, but uh, kind of leaning into what I said in the last point, uh, having a normal like 6H that kind of does everything you need it to, and it's the input is simple. It's not a lot of thought process behind it. Uh, it's kind of hard to argue against. Hard to argue its usefulness. You know, if there was a more complex input on this kind of move, which I've seen on some other characters, uh, it
Like Sherry's command kicks, kind of?
kind of like Sherry. Like I feel like Hunk and Sherry are kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of their execution barrier. I think Sherry is a very execution heavy character, and that's not to say that Hunk isn't, but I feel like Hunk has it. Hunk doesn't need to be execution heavy to play well, and it's tools like 6H that get the job done with if your execution is not as tight as it would be otherwise. You know, you could do all kinds of crazy dash combos and have the highest APM possible, or you could keep it simple, pop people up with 6H, and get similar damage. Maybe situations for better Oki. You know, it's a very good beginner tool.
I also have some thoughts on the execution for it. So, the first thing that comes to mind is Hunk does not have a special on DP. So if you're going for 6H in the quarter circle forward, you'll never get a special overlap for DP for him, which means that having a command normal on 6H is much more accessible, because if you go for one move and you get another because your input's getting stored too long, it's just a little too challenging, it can be really rough. But then on his supers, he has his level 3 is the DP input, so there you still need to be a little cautious if you were going straight from 6H into super. Like you're trying to get a punish on something from full screen and you realize, or you were pressing 6H in some situation and then somebody like backdash while summoning assist and you realize that you could catch two things. Like I feel that that's a situation where there's a little bit of it, but because of the lack of DP inputs that Tabs put on the character for just his basic specials, it makes him more able to use the tool without having execution errors, and I really appreciate that about Tab's design with him.
It's a very good point.
Any other thoughts before we move on to the next character?
Um, Option selecting throw when you're a character that can combo off of throw is also really big. I forgot to mention when I said it. Option selects throw. Not everybody gets to combo off of their throws, and Hunk is one of the characters who gets to do so, and that makes him much stronger. So anything that gives you that opportunity to get that OS throw that also has like hitboxes that'll make things work out well, it's pretty sweet. I also very highly value throw in this game. Oh, and it also option selects breaking throw. That's another thing I forgot to mention is that when your tool that could work out well also will OS protecting you from something, that gives it an extra benefit for sure.
Next up, we have the next move. It's going to be the forward light fireball with Jill or low gunfire.
Backpack, would you like to start us off with some thoughts?
I feel like I feel like Stars Jill's light gunshot is a workhorse of a move. It kind of does everything you'd want a move like this to do. It hits from full screen, it OTGs, it allows for super easy follow-ups. It You can cancel it into super, you can confirm into super from full screen. It again, it's a workhorse of a move. It does everything you want it to do. It's hard to argue that this is maybe one of the best projectile moves in all of modern Marvel. Might sound hyperbolic, but given how strong Stars Jill's been for so long, uh, her toolkit is pretty pretty effective, and it's been effective for a long time because of moves like light gunshot.
I agree that the move is amazing. It's I often in my brain overshadow it with the air version of the move because I like being able to move while I do things. But Jill is a blessed character because while she's doing this, she could stance cancel at any point. So she's not actually committed to anything. At any point, if you realize, oh, this was not actually the right decision, like you were thinking you were zoning them out, but then they do uh, full screen bionic arm. You could like stance cancel then backdash cancel, and that way this situation that would have been like the end of the character for most people trying to throw out a projectile instead is you getting to punish and kill, which makes it incredibly powerful. As Backpack mentioned, it's just like the fact that it OTGs full screen, has a decent amount of duration, chips well, has good durability. Its durability was toned down, but even after being toned down, it's incredibly strong. The fact that she could mix it in with her other strong tools, I feel is especially valuable. Mainly the fact that she has access to incendiary grenade, because being able to get grenade or an animal, and then also have the threat of like, hey, if you're trying to move on the ground, there's the chance that you will just die because she could confirm off of it pretty easily if you do guns stance cancel 2M or stance cancel dash cancel 2M to confirm off of it. Probably a little bit, let's see, around 2/3 of the zoomed in screen away. She gets the confirm off of it, so that has a pretty huge impact on it. Um, I Along with that, bullets don't scale, so this thing always does tons of damage. So even if it's at the end of the combo as an assist, it still hurts. But he is pretty ridiculous at the ground control, partially because of this. Because along with that, if just a sec, I need to test this, which requires I don't always have my record button turned on because I set my controls in verses, so I don't always have the record and playback repeat set up. But let's see if we just summon and assist there. And it does not pierce, which is a little bit of a problem. But if you need to go into her super does pierce. So being aware that there are times where even though it's a really dominant tool, that you won't be able to rely on it preventing a hitbox if they either summon an assist that they use to body block the bullets, or they body block the bullets themselves for the assist so that they could get something else out. It can often be pretty impactful on the situation against Stars Jill.
And something I think I will mention specifically because some players may play Dragon Ball Fighters but not play Marvel is that certain types of specials in this game are valuable sort of in the Street Fighter sense as opposed to the traditional like versus fighter sense where you can combo off of a beam by snagging someone at full screen. 'Cause this move is pretty low committal, does a decent chunk of damage, and does a excellent job because of its large duration and active hit frames of stopping people from dashing across the ground. And in Marvel 3 in particular, you can clear most of the ground space in a matter of seconds of some characters, so slowing them down so you can have assists or other things come into play is huge. So even though this tool isn't always a guaranteed combo, in many cases it may never combo, it's what you need to make sure that your player isn't just seeing through your weaknesses or taking advantage of particular tools in their character to just get in on you. And obviously we have characters like Virgil who do it regardless, but if you do not have the ability to plow through projectiles, it can slow you down a lot and start to build up what you need to ensure you kill, because Jill doesn't necessarily kill off of one combo if the opponent hasn't taken prior damage. And also, just the major aspect we can talk about with like Marvel footsies is that you sometimes call an assist and then fire off an active projectile like this to pin someone down and potentially start your mix. But you can also just mix in faking by just throwing out the special and hitting them for chip the first time, then calling the assist on the second, or vice versa. So your opponent doesn't know when after they get hit by this very high active special, if they should immediately try dashing forward, or if they're going to get pumped in the face by an assist. Specifically, if you're packing something like Cyclops. So very good tool, even in the traditional Street Fighter sense for Marvel of just playing mind games and footsies.
Oh, and since you bring that up, Tim, about the assist coverage, one of the things that makes this different than other specials is because you have stance cancel, after you're active, you could cancel into stance, and then about, I'm not sure if it's like 2 or 3, but something around there, a couple frames after your stance cancel starts, you could summon assist. So, in general, since most things don't let you have a recovery or don't let you summon assists during the move, the recovery is a big part of them. But because you're able to cancel recovery into stance, you're able to have assist much more integrated with how you use the light gun than you would for most types of moves that are similar.
Moving into the second question, how crucial is this to her kit? We sort of alluded to this already, but one thing to talk about Jill is she has command normals that are gunshots also. So by mixing between special and regular command gunshots, you can cover different sides or angles. And what's great about the command normal gunshots is that you have the ability to see if your opponent is jumping or crouching. So if they're crouching or trying to move forward, you do forward heavy into the light gunshot. But if they're trying to say jump, you can do medium gunshot instead. So overall, I think having this option applied to our kit, light gunshot is one of, as we were described, major money makers in terms of synergy.
We are on crucial to the kit, yes? Or if I'm
Yeah.
crucial to the kit. Oh, it's absolutely crucial to her kit. Uh it's it's one of her best tools. Like Stars Jill she'd still be a strong character if Light Gunshot wasn't as oppressive as it is, but the fact that it's in the state that it is, it's it's a net positive for her. I don't think there's any downsides to it really, outside of not piercing, like Sarah mentioned, but it does everything else. You know? It's what other characters wish their gunshots were.
Hmm.
Like I think if you gave light gunshot to any other character with a gun, they become a better character. I genuinely think it's that strong.
That's a great way of putting it. Like, if somebody has a parallel tool to this and they got it replaced with this version, would they be happy? And most characters would say yes when it comes to Stars Jill and the guns.
Mm-hmm.
So, as far as how crucial to the kit it is, uh, even though I feel it's incredibly powerful, one of the things about Stars Jill is this character is amazing at 10,000 different things. So I feel even in the context that she doesn't have light gun on the ground available, she still has like the jumping medium gun. She has access to the command normal gun. She has access to animals and incendiary. And I feel that she could build her game plan around any of those things and still be pretty safe. But then I feel that it definitely enhances their kit in order to have access to the move. But she's just one of the characters that has so many different strong tools that I feel that the cruciality of any of them goes down just because she could rely on the other strong tools that she has available.
That is a good point.
So you're not putting it crucial?
Yeah, I would say that it's very strong but not crucial. Like the move is amazing but not crucial to Stars Jill winning.
Okay.
Helps, definitely helps.
Oh yeah.
But she just has so many different things that are good that I feel that any single one of them is much less crucial.
One last thing to mention with it is also she's so fast in X Factor level 3.
Hmm.
You're actually capable of if you have really fast cancel, you can stance cancel and combo after it while in X Factor 3. It's kind of tight.
Hmm.
Reasonably sick.
This move is really very impressive. Is it assist synergy thing because we said you can cancel it. You can potentially bait using the special and then use stance cancel to later call the assist. And then it just makes it really cool in terms of utilizing beams or other things for being able to cross most of the screen by staggering it or using a slower assist to let you get in.
Mm.
So I think definitely I put this on the short list of big synergy moneymaker specials that Jill uses to make her assist game so strong.
Oh yeah.
Sarah, I think you might know this better than even me, considering you've put this character on so many teams.
As far as synergy goes, uh, sh- this is one of the. I had it as there were three influential ground assists, and then both this one and X's got nerfed or this one got nerfed slightly, and X's got nerfed majorly. So I think after its nerfs, it's probably the second best horizontal ground coverage assist in the game. It just has so many useful properties for controlling space for OTGing, and then on point, of course, it it helps with a lot of things, and the fact that its hit stun is set means that it's easier to have it interact with assist for loops. The fact that its bit damage is so incredibly high makes everything for it a lot better too. And as far as like the synergy on teams, I feel like she's very good in all three positions where she could take advantage of other people's assists, but she could also go in as her own entity and being able to have even just like let's see if I'm full screen away and I summon Hunk Assist. Like I could dash stance cancel and dash cancel, and on block I get ground guns, hunk guns, ground guns, and I'm at frame advantage at less than half screen. And on hit I get the combo. So it feels like because she has so much confirmability with any type of like solid assist that controls space for a while, she really gets a lot of value out of it. It's been a little while since I've played her in a more point position where she has access to all those great tools because like she's just been such a great support character. But when she has access to them, it's incredibly powerful and lets her integrate so well with it.
And Captain.
All very good points. You know, in terms of synergy, again, what's there left to say? She's another like Hunk. Stars Jill is another team player. I don't outside of maybe shoulder tackle, I think both of her assists are fantastic.
Mhm.
You know, gunshot is fantastic. Incendiary is, I would argue, borderline broken. But um, yeah, it plays nice with just about everybody. You know, it's hard to argue against a move that has all of the upsides that light gun spray does, and that's on point and as support. The amount of times I've seen uh, Stars Jill players get full comebacks from light gun spray into the right assist, and that's just the game. You know, happens all the time. And then you factor in X Factor and other assists, even better tool. So yeah.
Oh, that's another thing I forgot. Thank you for bringing up X Factor, Captain Backpack.
Mm-hmm.
One of the strengths Stars Jill has as a character is when she's anchored, or in general, she has her level 2, which is able to, if you only need level 2 to kill someone, you could kill them without spending 3 meters, but having level 2 into level 1 is pretty similar to doing a level 3 damage.
Mm.
And because of that, she's much better as an anchor than other characters are in a lot of ways. Because if you invest X Factor, you kill, but then it leaves you in a situation where you could get the kill on a partial health character only using 2 meters, which means you're more likely to have enough to kill the third character. And I feel a big part of that is that when she has her gun, if she just gets a little bit of chip with it or confirm with it, she is able to just like go in and X Factor so hard, and she has multiple roads to success with it, where instead of just needing to be a character that, oh, when she's an X Factor you need to block incredible mix-ups. That's true and it's obnoxious. But if she has X Factor and you don't, she could do the Dormammu thing and be like, oh, I'm going to chip out all of your health, and light gun is a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%.
Tim, you're a Dormammu enjoyer. Do you feel similarly about the impacts of like light gun on her X Factoriness?
hmm Because you only get one X Factor cancel, but thus you should do something stupid with it. Something I would consider pretty stupid is throw flame grenade, X Factor cancel, and then use light gun. You'll often hold the person in stun long enough that the grenade then goes off, and then you're plus. Very plus.
There are sweet Stars Jill players too. I feel like recently the one that's been performing the best is Renard when he has her on his team,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sweet to see that like light gun is a part of that, but not the entirety of it. And oh my gosh, are we blessed by a Canadian ally, an artist from the north, the wonderful Oblivion?
It is I, Surf Bud Enjoyer himself.
Here comes a new challenger.
A half-dead challenger.
You're just in time. We're doing an exercise involving moves and answering questions in the extra chat.
So the moves that we talked about so far before you came in, Oblivion, there was Hunk and his 6H, the command normal, along with Stars Jill's light guns on the or light guns on the ground, quarter circuit board L.
Those are some really good buttons right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So and we covered the moves in terms of, is the move amazing? Is it crucial to the character's kit? Does it define their playstyle? How does it play into synergy? And is it good for execution? And I believe we just talked about synergy with Stars Jill's light gun. Would it be good to discuss the impact on execution?
This one's gonna sound a lot like the hunk thing, though. But I said some specials require precision and heartbeat level reactions to capitalize on them. That is not this special. This special is a large and slow duration that you can use to think and catch your breath, look at your opponent, or just chip for a while with a good assist, like say hidden missiles. So I think having moves like this in a kit, just like of Hunk, give a lot of room for newer players to get a feel for the character, even in tight competitive play, because when you are stressed or nervous, you drop stuff a lot. So just having a reliable game plan special that you can say X Factor cancel to get into your kills means that you'll probably have, you can rely on this character a lot more when you're unfamiliar with the game you're currently in or even the matchup because Marvel has now even this huge roster for clone engine and palette swap. So many uncharacteristic or weird matchups you've probably never played before. So, as far as execution is considered, great special to have.
Yeah, just use it. It is way too good not to be used. You gotta love it for combos, extensions, lockdown, everything. It gives you all you need.
I'm feeling kind of bad as I feel like I curated some of these so people would say something different than "Wow, this is great." But
Well, is there anything else to say about that move? Because that move, that's literally all there is to say. It's just great. It's just
I,
good.
oh, I'm about to say something disharmonious.
go for it.
So you're like, oh, this is an easy to access move, and I agree that at a basic level it is. But the fact that it relates to her stance cancel, I think means it's one of those things that you need to practice your arbitrary execution on. So she shoots 8 bullets, and when you look at this move, you need to find out on what frame she spawns the 8th bullet, and that is the frame you should cancel after for your stance cancel to make it so you get the maximum amount of value with the minimum amount of investment for the move. So I feel it's actually like a thing that is very execution testing if you decide to take it further, but that it's also very strong on a basic level. So you don't need to go into the harder parts of its execution in order to get value out of it. But because the timing window to get the perfect cancel on it is pretty clear, and you want to be able to do it off of all 8 if that's the thing you're trying to control horizontal space with, but you also want to be able to do it off of less if they are in certain positions for how they're interacting with it. I think that it makes it incredibly execution testing because unlike most of the projectiles in this game, when you do it, you shouldn't be like, or like instead of needing to go into that space of like, okay, time to think, she can be like, what do I need to react to right now? And be able to cancel that into stance into the correct option. So I feel it's a very, very, very intense execution test, but that it's only that way if you decide to pursue that part of it. And without it, it's just a great tool on its own before you get into the high execution stuff. Kind of like Sentinel's Flight, where the flight is really powerful, even at a basic level, but then the more you grind it, the more that it could give you.
The more you grind it, the more you hate it.
Yeah. The more you learn, oh no, I'm gonna have to deal with that.
I agree with that 100%. It is, in terms of execution, as convenient as it is to have a special move this powerful on a relatively simple input, it's got a very low skill floor, but a very high skill ceiling when you work it into the rest of her kit. Like as Sarah was saying with the stance cancels, as convenient as it is to have, light gun spray on just a quarter circle motion, having to work that in with 2-2S as your stance cancel, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do without some practice. So it's convenient when you're using it in particular ways, and it doesn't require that level of effort to use effectively. But it gives you the option to do more with it when you work with her kit. So that's another reason why Stars Jill is such a strong character in general, because she has a lot of very simple, easy to understand entry level tools that are really powerful that pretty much anybody can jump on and press some buttons with Stars Jill and feel like they're doing something. But if you really want to put the time and the effort in, adding in her stance cancels, that completely opens up the character. So I feel like if light gunshot were a more simple input, we might be having a different conversation. But the fact that it is a special move motion puts just the tiniest execution barrier in place, which I think is fine. For all the benefit you get out of that move, having that little execution barrier when it comes to really unlocking her full potential, I think it's a fair trade-off.
Also was testing in training mode, and something that is worth noting when you are confirming off of her light gun into stance cancel into dash 2M, since it's a bunch of potential hits, you could either choose to try and do it cancel earlier so you get like one bullet, and then if you get one bullet, you could potentially sorry, I'm trying to execute at the same time. But it's easier to confirm off more bullets than it is off of less, but you're going to get more damage scaling off of it. And if you have, say, like 4 or 5 bullets connect before you do it, you should go straight into the jump gun loops because you've already scaled your combo. And those are less impacted by scaling. So you'll still be able to get like full damage out of it, confirming off of the quarter circle forward light, even in the context that. Your other stuff would scale pretty quickly because like if you do jump MMHS at that point, it adds like I think less than 50k damage, but then just instead going straight into the Tiger Knee medium guns, you're able to add like 111k or so.
And would you consider that both easier and more damaging, or just easier?
Mm, I
Moving
think going
to
into the gun
episode
loops
2,
off of
I'm
it
blessed
is
with
is
two amazing.
challenging if you don't have your Tiger Knees down. I feel like Tiger Knees got easier for me when I went to Hitbox, so I feel like I don't feel super intimidated by the Tiger Knees, but I know that some people it really messes with their execution, and in those situations, that's actually a good question for this since we're talking about execution. So there's some people may have a challenge with like launch Tiger Knee into quarter circle forward medium in order to get the combo, but other people may have a more challenging time with like charging stars into stance cancel into dash cancel into MH. And so, how do we vary, or how do we understand the variance in what's easy for different people execution wise? Because some of it's like somebody's playing on leverless, and people have said, like, talking about like Tekken or something, Korean backdashing is pretty hard on stick for most people, and most people find it very challenging. But then going to leverless is much easier on the execution. So, I'm curious how folks calculate both the input mechanism they use, whether it's pad stick or leverless, and whether they're talking about good for execution for specifically the format they play on or all formats, or curious how y'all each think about that.
That's a fabulous question because the pad I play on, you can adjust the dead zones on the analog stick. So Tiger
Ooh.
knees are not easy, but they're more manageable because one of the biggest issues that gets you in trouble is that you don't reset the stick before you go for, say, a fireball motion. Because you go straight from up and then you have to let go and then immediately do fireball, and you have to really hope that the stick resets.
Mm,
With a larger dead zone, I think I screwed up slightly less.
nice.
But if I did this on, say, like, a GameCube controller with its
Oh
famous, like,
no.
pads, I would probably never be able to do so.
I am grateful the GameCube controller is not the tournament standard for modded Marvel. We are a very lucky game.
We really are.
Those
I feel
controllers
kind
are
of
something.
bad. Marvel 2 being on the Switch is both the best thing in the world and arguably the worst things in the world
Yeah.
because I do not think it is humanly possible to use the Joy-Cons for Marvel combos. They have so many issues, and the drift will
Oh
absolutely
no.
murder this game.
Oh yeah, no, Marvel's not going to be fun on the Switch. I can tell you right now, it's going to be one hell of a time.
I've got
Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Buy a new flipping pad that's not made by Nintendo.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on Switch. Just buy the stick. Just buy the stick already.
Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. Just buy more controllers, please.
Just buy more.
So Anchor is Iceman, and it's back fireball
That could work.
heavy button. This is a very weird move. It is the arcing ice rain
You know, it
from
doesn't work like you
Iceman,
want it to work sometimes.
and
It's
it
just
starts
either
Mhm.
it
towards
they
him
all
and then
hit, they
fires
don't all
out
hit.
towards the
One of them
opposite
hits, but it
side.
pops them up
So
weirdly.
the last part it
Then you
hits
try
is the
to
far side of the
convert off of
screen,
it, but then
and
it doesn't work. It's like, Iceman, please.
it's hard to use.
Just refuse to cooperate.
Hmm.
It can be. It has to decide to be.
At this point, our bot decided to crash, so there'll be some missing audio before the next part. Sorry for the inconvenience. See you soon.